This is The Whole Truth, brought to you by the Greenville County Democratic Party. From local city councils and school boards to the South Carolina legislature and the nation, we provide a clear-eyed view of the whole truth surrounding the decisions, the policies, and the politics that have a direct impact on your family, your neighbors, and you. In today's episode, Stacy and Charles cover some of the most high-impact recent events and what those may soon mean to you and to others here in the upstate. They also provide some critical details of upcoming events which are crucial for your involvement. So here now are the chair and the third vice chair of the Greenville County Democratic Party, Stacy Mars and Charles Morris.
Hey guys, welcome to the Whole Truth podcast. We don't have any guests this week, but Charles and I do have some pretty hot topics to talk about. So we are going to jump in and have some fun.
We have a lot to talk about. I don't know if anybody's noticed, there's a lot going on in the U.S. and right here at home in South Carolina. So first is a wild story over at the South Carolina Election Commission. So back in September, the executive director was fired from the state election commission by the chair, by a vote that the chair had called. And the given reason was a $4 million cost overrun for voting machines. And the executive director claimed that it was sales tax that was not included in the agreement. And I'm having a hard time believing that there was a $4 million sales tax bill and not maybe, I don't know, a kickback to a friend. And then even wilder is his deputy director. The executive director is Howie Knapp. Let's make sure we get the names out there. Let's name these people. Howie Knapp, his deputy director, Paige Solanich, she was caught on video planting a recorder in a training room afterwards to record meetings where they were talking about this whole situation. So now, as we gear up for midterms next year, now we have an election commission that seems totally compromised, lacking trust from the people, mired in controversy. This is actually wild.
It feels kind of like a reality show, right?
It did. It's the real world, South Carolina.
For all the talk of being this party that's responsible financially.
Oh my gosh.
First, we have Curtis Loftus, who can't keep up with billions of dollars, right? And then we have somebody else that can't either. And now we have the election commission just, we don't know where the $4 million went, what it's supposed to do. Like, it was taxed, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? It's just, so I think this whole label of party of financial responsibility, they might want to rethink that, but to have been the majority party for over 20 years and you still can't get it right.
That's correct. I'm still waiting to see how they try to spin this as being Democrats' fault. I haven't seen that line yet, but I'm waiting. Like a Democrat told them to leave the sales tax off or something. A Democrat told Paige here to plant the recorder. That's probably what they'll say. She was a Democrat. You know what? That's it. We just came up. We gave it to them. This is free. Y'all take it. Paige is a Democratic mole planted by the chair of the Greenville County Party, Stacy Mars herself, to spy on the election commission.
It didn't work out so well for Paige.
That's how ridiculous this all sounds. Anyway, we might as well just make something up. But you're right. On a serious note, the Republicans are constantly talking about trying to save money wisely, being the wise stewards of taxpayer dollars, this, that, and the third. And all of a sudden, $2 million is in an account or it's not in an account. I'm sorry, $2 billion with the Curtis Loftus thing. And it's like, did we ever get a resolution on that? Because they flip-flopped on that a couple times.
No, there's no resolution. Curtis is running for treasurer again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just put it back in there. Sure. $2 billion, who's missing that? So it's just more hypocrisy. It's more ridiculousness from the party that controls our state. And honestly, it's not surprising, but it is extremely concerning because at the end of the day, they do control the voting machines. And we do have a very important election next year because this state will be voting for a governor, a state superintendent of education, all these statewide offices that are super important on top of congressional races and all the local races. So this is actually deeply disturbing.
I agree. And especially since you bring up the fact that we're going to be voting next year, I need somebody to step up and run against Curtis. How about that? Can somebody please step up and run against this man? Let's make him have to fight for this, and see what happens. I mean, to have lost that much money and not face some kind of repercussions, consequences, something. Like, we need to make him
Make
pay.
him answer the questions. Make
Yeah.
him do a debate where he has to answer questions about this. This is all, it's ridiculous that these mistakes or these oversights happen that are colossal amounts of money and then they never have to answer for it because they control government. So, there's a lot of we investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing going on here. It's ridiculous.
Imagine how it worked.
Yeah.
We
Imagine if it was a
investigated ourselves.
Democrat, though. What would it be like if it was a Democrat?
Oh yeah, no, there would be no Democrats investigating themselves. That they would never let that happen
That's true.
ever.
We tell on
Okay.
ourselves constantly.
Yeah.
But
And
here's the
even at
evidence.
that,
Sorry.
I have to give Heather Bauer, Representative Heather Bauer, some credit in that this woman will use every trick in the book that she can find to stall and do whatever she can to stop their agenda, right? And I think we have more of that in the state house. Well, not so much will get passed.
Or fighters like Heather. Yeah, amen. Fighters like Heather Bauer, please. The next one is a national issue that is also deeply disturbing. So the Supreme Court um, heard a case yesterday, actually, Louisiana versus Calais. So basically, it all comes down to a certain section of the Voting Rights Act, which of course was a landmark piece of legislation passed during the civil rights movement to protect voting rights, but also the voting power of minorities, mostly in the South. And Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is specifically protecting racial minorities from having their votes diluted by gerrymandering and drawing district lines that go out of their way to break up, you know, majority minority areas. We all know what gerrymandering is. This has kind of been the last line of defense against that across the entire South. And it's widely expected, of course, that the conservative supermajority, it's a theme here. Every time conservatives control something, they screw it up. The conservative supermajority on the Supreme Court, which is 6-3, is going to gut Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which is going to allow states to draw whatever lines they want to. There will be no more protections for anybody, but especially for minorities in the South. And this is deeply dangerous. I've seen estimates that Republicans will be able to use this to gain anywhere from 17 to 19 seats, which means we could be looking at a Republican controlled House for who knows how long if we do not fight back against this. So I don't think I've seen this gets a lot of national news, but I think it's a Supreme Court case with kind of a lot of legalese, and I don't think these news articles do a good job of trying to break down exactly what it is. But we need more people talking about this, and we need more people aware of what this means and the effects that this can have on their votes, especially in the South, where we are.
Agreed on so many levels. So a couple of things. One, Republicans have done a good job of saying that the protections that have been put in place to protect Black people and minorities are racist, right? Like, that's been their
First
whole
racism. They're bringing that one out.
That's been their whole argument. Well, that's racist against us. And it's like, okay, you're choosing not to look at history and why this was put in place, right? Like, you are choosing to forget that there were Jim Crow laws that literally discriminated against Black people and minorities, and that the courts had to put these laws in place in order for us to even have these freedoms, right? And so I think connecting those dots has gotten lost. Like, people are not connecting those dots and what it means historically. We hear them say, "Oh, it's racist," and we get mad and we're like, "Oh, you don't know what racist." Then we want to break down what it means to be racist, and it's like that's a second that's secondary, right? Let's talk about the real issue of one, no, it's not racist. And this is why these laws were in place the first time. And you can't say that just because Obama was president, we're in a post-racist society now. Like that has been proven not to be true, right? And so when you say that is racist, but then you go and you gerrymander these districts where we no longer have the majority minority districts anymore, and then you start cracking and packing them, packing Black people into districts and then cracking them up as in,
Yes.
displacing them, then
Yes.
that seems a little racist. You can't call us racist without saying what you actually are doing is racist as well. And I think we got to just start calling it what it is instead of using these fluffy terms, legal terms to try and paint the picture. We just got to call it what it is.
Yes. Thank you. And that's why we have to just ask people a simple question. Why did we have to pass the Voting Rights Act in the first place? Why was this legislation required? Because throughout the South, like you said, Jim Crow laws were designed to disenfranchise Black voters. I mean, poll taxes, there voter intimidation. This is all part of the same old playbook. They're rolling back civil rights. It's part of the same playbook of passing these voter ID laws. Voter fraud is almost non-existent in this country, but they insist that it's a widespread issue when it's not. It's just part of a generation of capturing the court at the district level, at the appeals court level, and at the Supreme Court level to roll back rights. We rolled back Roe v. Wade. They're going to completely gut the Voting Rights Act. It's part of a completely disturbing trend where Republicans are determined to take us back in time. Talk about a post-racist society. We're about to go back to the pre-civil rights society, which is not good for some of us. And we have to stand up and fight against this. And enough people, I think if they knew and they were able to talk about it like we just did, I think more people would be outraged. So people have to start talking about this. This is disturbing what's happening at the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and I talk about this all the time, how people are scared, but we got to move past that fear, because if we don't, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. We got to stop letting the fear hold us back, because it hasn't necessarily touched a lot of these people. They feel that it's okay for them to still continue to take a back seat. And it's like, no, you want to stop it before it even gets to you. So stand up now.
And honestly, I can understand why somebody would feel that way. I may not feel that way, but I can empathize with why somebody may feel that way. People are worried about going to work, feeding their kids, whatever, providing for their families, providing for themselves. The economy is not going in a good direction because of more Republican policies. Inflation is sky high. The cost of everything is absolutely outrageous. And people are worried about that. But at the same time, if we don't fight now, we're going to be looking up at 2026 going, am I even allowed to go to my polling place?
Right.
Trump's been president since January 20th. It's October 16th. Look at how much they've done in Project 2025. Look at how fast this has moved. People you're right. People got to wake up. There's no more being scared. I'm sorry. Our ancestors weren't scared in the 40s, 50s, and 60s when they were literally risking their lives to vote so they could, sit where they wanted on the bus, so that they could go vote, so that they could sit at the lunch counter. Like, come on, we I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent again. I'm doing my thing that I do.
You were preaching, Charles. You were preaching.
I start preaching when I get fired up, man. But this is one thing that gets me fired up. We have to fight this.
I was looking for a tambourine.
All right, I need a cup of water. All right. This kind of leads into the next topic, which I think a lot of people are also not mad enough about. Our government has been shut down for 16 days.
It has been.
And to your point, it's probably because for a lot of people, it has not affected them. But for a lot of people, it has. When the SNAP benefits dry up, it's going to affect people. Mm-hmm. Soldiers are standing in food lines because they're not getting paid. How much longer is TSA going to keep showing up to the airport when they're not getting paid? These are things that people are not talking about, and all because we have a pedophile as a president, and they simply don't want to swear in somebody who won an election in Arizona, and she's the 218th vote to force the release of the Epstein files. That's going to show that the actual pedophile conspiracy is the GOP, the gang of pedophiles. All right, I'm sorry.
But yeah, but I mean, here's the thing: a couple things. One, the shutdown is kind of personal for me because I do have family members that work for the government, and they're not getting paid.
Right.
They're not getting paid, but they also know what the right thing to do is. Right? They understand why it's happening, and for once, they're not worried. It's a little strange, but they're not. And I think they just want what's right. But you are right as to why the government is shut down and why they won't swear in Adelita Grijalva. And it's really, really, it's a really sad state of affairs. And it kind of makes me wonder, when are Republicans going to wake up and start to care? I mean, and maybe they're already awake, they just don't care. So where does the care come in? When do they start to say this isn't right and start to apply some pressure to their representatives and their senators? Because the Democrats are already doing that, but they don't care about us. They care what their constituents say, right? And so when are they going to start to stand up? Because eventually they're going to be affected by this. The farmers are already being affected. They're already starting to speak up because they're not getting their subsidies, right? And I sold health insurance for a while, and I know that a majority of the people that are on the ACA are Republicans and they're low income people, right? And so they're, just like they didn't want Obamacare when it first started, now they're hooked on it. They know they need
the Affordable Care Act. That's what they like.
Them. Of course. But at the end of the day, because they haven't been affected by it yet, they don't care, right? Let it go on. But November 1st is coming fast, and they're going to have to renew. And either you got the subsidy, are going to be there or they're not. And if they're not, a lot of people coming off insurance. A lot. And it's going to rise.
You touch on an important point with the ACA premiums there, because for one, the premiums are shooting up to just outrageous amounts. How many people get health insurance on the exchange in red states who are probably Republican voters? And what I worry about, and I wonder what you think about this, how many of those people understand that it is Republican policies that are directly responsible for how much higher their premiums are going to be, for how much more money they're going to have to pay for prescription drugs that they probably need to stay alive? And a lot of them are lower income, but there's also millions of people who work at small businesses who don't provide health insurance. They get insurance on the exchange, who probably vote Republican in these red states as well. And I do wonder, like you said, when is the dam going to break? And not only will the constituents understand whose fault this is, but when are the representatives and the senators going to break away? Because Mike Johnson seems to be 10 toes down for Trump. I mean, I'm like, are you in the files? Like, what's happening here?
He wants to keep that seat. He wants to stay speaker. He saw what happened to Kevin McCarthy. He learned his lesson. So he's going to stay loyal to Trump, because all Trump got to say is take him out, and then he's out. So yeah, he's going to stay loyal to Trump. But I think, and I'm not really sure what the play is with this one, but Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Oh. She's all of a sudden come out in favor of the subsidies. And why? Because it's going to impact her family. Right? But at the same time, I'm like, are you doing this to give them cover? Because they all know you're the craziest one of the bunch, right? So when the crazy one, it starts to make sense, does that give the rest of them cover to be like, maybe she's got a point? But for her to be the one out of all of them to be like, no, we got to make this happen, is wild to me. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, I know. And it's
next is going to be Lauren Boebert talking sense. Then what?
I know. I don't get the MTG thing. first of all, I'd never trust this woman's genuineness on literally anything. She's an absolute ghoul of a human being. But it is wild that she came out so directly opposed. And part of me does think, man, she represents a district in the far northwest of Georgia that's very rural, has higher than the national average poverty rates. And these are people who are going to be affected more than most districts by these policies. So maybe she's part of the dam breaking. I don't know, but seeing Marjorie making those comments was crazy. That caught me off guard.
I mean, and honestly, it's weird because this is the second thing she's kind of broken ranks with her party on. I think the first one was like the Epstein files. I was like,
yeah, no, she's one of those 218 signatures for sure.
Oh, Marjorie.
Or 217, excuse me.
Right. Like Marjorie, really? So, it's like there's starting to be a pattern here on the dam breaking. And so I don't know, it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
I really do think it all, and I hate to sound crazy like Marjorie herself, but there is no reason for the Republican Party to continue this shutdown because it is so toxic for them, other than it's simply Mike Johnson and Trump and whoever else will do whatever it takes to keep those files from coming out.
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to that. It's as simple as that. Which leads into, how do you just not swear in somebody who literally won an election on September 23rd, over 3 weeks ago?
The way he's doing it now. I mean,
what?
Like I said before, the Republicans are the party of obstruction, right? They will put roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock up to stop any progress that we are making. And so that's what he's done, right? Now, I do applaud the Democrats. I am giving them so much credit right now because they have stayed focused on the Epstein files. They have stayed focused on getting her into office. They have stayed focused on making sure that people know that this is the Republican shutdown and why they are not caving this time, right? Due to the healthcare subsidies. So I personally think that people should be giving them more credit. Right? We're quick to criticize them, but they've done a great job of that. And so to see, they just marched down to Mike Johnson's office yesterday to try and get her sworn in. And so, and the Arizona, I think, state attorney general is saying, dude, if you don't answer this letter that I've sent you in 2 days, I'm taking you to court. So we are throwing punches, and I couldn't be happier right now that, maybe we are in a shutdown, but we're staying focused and we are not breaking ranks.
No, I agree with you. And listen, I've been known to be one of those people that could be very critical of, especially national Democrats, but you're right. They have held firm. A 16-day shutdown is very long. I think where people lose perspective is under Trump. We've had multiple shutdowns. But in the entirety of U.S. history, shutdowns are very abnormal. They're the absolute nuclear option. You just never allow it to happen. And the fact that we're now going on day 16, and like you said, they're holding firm because of those subsidies and because of the files, I applaud them for that. You got Ro Khanna out there leading the charge, Representative Clyburn right here in South Carolina, obviously AOC, Jasmine Crockett. They're all standing firm, and Senate Democrats. Now, you got a couple, we won't mention them by name, who are Democrats in the Senate who keep joining these cloture votes with Republicans to try to break the filibuster. But, whatever. You're right. And I do applaud them. The march was, it was kind of funny. But, hey, look, do whatever it takes. You got to do something.
Yeah.
So they're fighting.
If they didn't do anything, then we'd be like, what are y'all doing? Get her sworn in. I think the question I've seen is, well, why does he have to do it?
But that's the thing. There have been other special elections this year, and guess what? Right. Republicans won them, and they swore those people in 24 hours.
Exactly.
No problem.
Why somebody else can't do it and why it has to be him. And I'm like, well, it sounds like maybe that's the rules of the House. I'm glad she is standing firm. I'm glad her state is standing behind her. And so is the House. And that's really all they can do right now. They're not the majority party. They got to, all they can do is keep attention on it.
Yeah, because they're the
So,
party of obstruction, like you said. I'm glad you mentioned the Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays. I mean, she talked about 800,000 people live in this district. So we are
mm,
essentially disenfranchising 800,000 people because you don't want to release the files.
right.
Anyway, oh boy, this is a banger of a topic where I don't even know where to start.
Oh
A
gosh.
bombshell Politico report the other day. And I give Politico credit. They have been doing a lot of great investigative reporting this year, ever since Trump took office again. Young Republicans nationwide had a Telegram group chat, and oh boy, I'll just read a couple quotes, and we'll just see, we'll just take it from there. I love Hitler. That was a quote from one of them. The other one said, I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch monkeys play ball. He was talking about the NBA.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
They said all kinds of stuff. They made gas. I mean, I read the article. People should go to politico.com and read the article if you haven't. They have a ton of these things. They're making jokes about gas chambers,
Yep.
slavery, rape
Hmm.
comments. I mean, the most repugnant things that you could possibly say about other human beings was all in these chats. And these are young Republicans from New York, Kansas, Vermont, all over the place.
And they even said it themselves that if they got caught, that they were going to be what I think it said they were cooked.
Exactly. He said, we're cooked if this ever gets out.
If they got caught, yeah, and I find it interesting that they said that because in my mind I'm thinking, I don't know that you are because look at what's going on right now. So I was really surprised that they shut the group down. Like, oh, or at least Kansas did, I think.
New
But
York,
then
New York, New York folded theirs immediately, and then Kansas suspended theirs.
Uh, but then you have JD Vance come out and literally defend these kids. And it's like, sir, they knew exactly what they were saying. They are old enough to know what they're talking about. So quit infantilizing them. Quit making it seem like, oh, they were just being kids. No, no, no. These kids actually sounds like they studied some history because they're talking about Hitler and how they like
Exactly.
gas chambers and stuff. But then, I was telling
Exactly.
somebody the other day, I said, what people forget is that Hitler in Germany, they got their tactics from the history of the US slavery, right? And Jim Crow. Like that is where they got their tactics from. So as much as people like to talk about Hitler in Germany, baby, it starts here. Like it is our history that they pulled from. So when do we
Exactly.
reckon with that? We can call them whatever what are they? Hitler Nazis. But really,
Nazis.
let's talk about the KKK. Let's talk about the Proud Boys because that's where they got a lot of their tactics.
And also, these are not kids. These are grown ass adults
Oh, that's
who
right.
are
Yeah.
who know better. And clearly, like you said, they knew what they were saying was messed up because they said if it gets out, we're cooked.
Right.
They knew it was wrong. And then, man, the vice president, I'm just going to read it. Kids do stupid things. They're not kids. Don't ruin their lives over edgy jokes. I'm sorry.
Edgy. Oh, they're edgy. They're wanting to
Where
kill
I
somebody.
come from,
Apparently wanting to kill
edgy
somebody is
jokes,
edgy.
edgy
Like,
jokes are not Hitler, they're not slavery, and they're not rape in gas chambers. I'm sorry. We don't joke about that, at least not the people that I am around. I don't know what kind of people I do know what kind of people the vice president's around. Nazis like Stephen Miller.
yeah, and it's I just the hypocrisy of all of it. Let's be real, they were having people fired for the smallest comment about Charlie Kirk. Just
Yes.
doxing them, getting them
Thank you.
fired. But you're okay with kids saying making these racist comments? Like once again, hypocrisy. That's all we see from them. Hypocrisy. And it's like, where does it end? Where? Does it ever end? Or is this all they're going to keep doing?
Never
And
ends
when
with
do,
them. Never ends.
and I'm sorry. I just think we have to be louder about the hypocrisy of it all.
We do. And I mean, one, I don't want to use the words bright spot, but one encouraging sign is most of these people immediately lost their jobs, their job offers. Representative Elise Stefanik, who's one of the worst members of Congress, the chair of the House GOP conference, she said, absolutely appalled. They must step down immediately. I mean, some people have come out and said the right things, but the
Yeah.
overarching issue is that the current political climate, and I shouldn't even say current, I mean, this goes back centuries, but they thought it was okay to say these things amongst themselves, which means this is how they truly feel. This is what they truly believe. And these are people who would have been in power in the next 10 to 20 years. And so that means the people who are currently in power probably say the same things behind closed doors.
Behind
Because
closed
when
doors. Yes.
Stephen Miller steps up to a microphone, he doesn't hide it all. He didn't say, I love Hitler, but I mean, he's not that far.
He ain't saying he hate him either.
I mean, I'm saying. So it's disturbing, and we do need to be louder. We cannot allow the vice president to get away with saying these are edgy jokes. No, Mr. Vice President, this is disturbing, hateful, violent rhetoric, words you love to use about Democrats when they simply use Charlie Kirk's own words. I mean, you quote Charlie Kirk and now you're a violent extremist, but you say you love Hitler and you're just making edgy jokes. My God. I need a break after that one. Okay. Well, there's a lot going on, but we do have some things coming up that we would like to tell people about. What are those, Madam Chair?
Okay. So don't forget, early voting is coming up Monday, 4 more days. So if you live in the city of Greenville, if you live in Malden, Fountain Inn, Greer, Travelers Rest, I think I'm forgetting Simpsonville. Make sure you have a plan to go vote. And early voting is in one location this year. It's at McAllister Square from 8:30 to 5 o'clock. So if you know you're not going to be able to make it on election day, like just go now, go Monday, go next week, go the week, following week, get it out of the way, right? Because all of these races are important. But focusing specifically on the city of Greenville, you have Councilor Lillian Brock Fleming, who is up for re-election, and you have Tina Belchi, who is running for the seat that is being vacated by Russell Stahl. So make sure that you go vote for them. I had the opportunity to go to the NAACP forum Tuesday night. And if you weren't able to go onto the League of Women Voters Facebook and watch it, and you will see the starkest difference between Tina and her opponent and Councilor Fleming and her opponent. Like Tina and Councilor Fleming, they came with the facts. They came with the fire. They have solutions for moving Greenville forward and planning, responsible planning, so that we can grow better. Like we're going to grow, but the way we do it, how we do it is what matters more than anything. And having those two on council together, Tina with her city planning experience and Councilor Fleming with just her history of experience on the council, man, we like the city of Greenville will be in a really good spot. So make sure you go vote for them if you live in the city. Turnout has been historically low during municipal elections because people just tend not to pay attention. But we got to turn that around because people are impacted daily by their local government. I know that what's going on at the national level matters, but you also have to care about what goes on locally because it does impact you more directly than what's going on at the federal level.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, Monday through Friday for early voting. Runs for 2 weeks at McAllister Square at the voting office. And then, of course, Election Day is on Tuesday, November 4th. Now, there's still a jam-packed next 2 weeks before Election Day. If you have been thinking about getting involved, you still have time. We still have doors we need to knock on. We still have phone calls we need to make. We still have text messages that we need to send, and we can help with all of that. Come walk, come knock on doors. I did 2 miles in West Greenville earlier. I'm not in the same shape that I used to be, but we got out there, we did it. I'm a little sore right now. It's kind of sad to say.
Thank you for your work, Charles.
I just patted myself on the back. I don't know if you
You
noticed
really
that.
did. I thought you might
But
break your arm.
we need those two on the council. It is a 4-3 majority on city council for Democrats right now. We cannot afford to lose either one of those seats. This is a critical election. And you're right. People tend to not pay attention as much to municipal elections. They usually are off cycle. They're not, big ticket items, but they are probably more important for your everyday life than the elections that get all the attention. So please get out there and vote. Come help us if you want to volunteer. We have a day of action coming up on Saturday, the 18th.
Yes, we do.
What's going on there?
Yeah. I'm really excited for the day of action because our state party chair, Crystal Spain, is going to be here. A question that I get frequently is, what is the state party doing? They're doing a lot. And I can't wait until after the election to just tell everybody everything that they have helped us with. But, from the beginning, when I went and talked to Crystal and TJ, and I was like, we will need your help. They were like, just tell us what you need. We will get it done. And we sat down and we made a plan. And I'm thankful that she's going to be here to help us to canvass, to text bank, to phone bank, lit drop. There's something that everybody can do. And come and meet Crystal because people always want to know where she is. She will be here in Greenville Saturday morning from 10 until 12 or 1, and come and meet her. If you have questions, that will be the time to come and ask them. But let's keep it classy as well. I'm really excited about Saturday. I'm just that, but also just to for that last real push for Counselor Fleming and Tina. I mean, these ladies have worked their butts off since March, I guess, and maybe before that, just really trying to get the word out and get their vision out about how they can make Greenville better. And I think Saturday is just kind of going to be a day to celebrate them, but to also continue to let people know that the election or early voting starts Monday, and then the election is on the 4th. So I know there is a No Kings rally that is going to happen in Columbia, and there's one that's going to happen in Greenville from 2 to 4. But if you have time in the morning, come to headquarters, 1300 East Washington Street, and join us in helping to get the word out. Like I said, there's something for everybody to do. Canvas. If you want to text bank and phone bank, bring a laptop and a charger. Or if you don't want to knock on doors, but you want to leave the literature at a house, you can do that too. There is literally something for everybody.
And honestly, I mean, like you said, the No Kings is at 2. I think you're right about that. The office, the headquarters here is downtown. It's not that far from the Peace Center. You could do both if you want to. So stop by, come and see us, come hear about what we've been doing, what the state's been doing to help us, because it is a lot. And Lillian and Tina have been out there every single day for months now talking about their message. And they are incredible candidates. Obviously, Lillian Brock Fleming is a legend in Greenville. She's a civil rights icon. She's been serving this city her entire life. Greenville is in District 2 are her life's work, and she needs our support, and we owe it to her, honestly, in my opinion. I know I'm a little biased because I live in West Greenville, but Lillian Brock Fleming is a legend. And Tina Belgi is an absolute, she's going to be a powerhouse.
She's a rock star
in the future. She really is. Tina's a superstar. She knows exactly what she's talking about. She has actual solutions. She is not a blowhard like some of the other people who are running. The woman knows what the problems are and exactly what she wants to do to help us fix them.
Not only does Tina know what the problems are, she's coming from lived personal experiences, right? She's talking about this throughout her campaign and how and why she got into city planning and housing affordability and some of the solutions that she's talked about throughout her campaign. And they've worked in other cities. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Exactly. Equity while renting. I mean, you don't get anything else out of renting. I would love to get some equity you know, and and that kind of thing. So in trolleys, like her idea of trolleys running through the city, I would love to ride a trolley, but instead of driving, because the parking downtown is atrocious right now, right? And so to have some relief in that manner would be amazing. So we interviewed Tina a couple episodes ago, or maybe last episode, I can't remember. Go and listen to it if you haven't. Like, you will definitely walk away feeling more enlightened by what she said, and feeling like she knows what she's talking about, as opposed to her opponent who just wants world peace, and that's it.
Her opponent was basically just copying Tina's homework.
Yeah,
something. Piggybacking on all her answers.
Right. So yeah,
we interviewed Lillian too. We've interviewed both of them. So if you want to hear about Lillian's life story, awesome episode. I had the privilege of being able to do that one. So please go and listen to both of them. They're both incredible candidates.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time.
Release the files.
We want to thank you for watching and listening to The Whole Truth podcast, brought to you by the GCDP. It is now available on both Spotify and Apple podcast outlets. So please make sure you share the link to this podcast with a friend or three, or post it on your own social media profiles. Help us spread the word so more people can get the whole truth. You can also learn about other ways to get involved by checking in the GCDP website at greenvilledemocrats.com and click on the events calendar. Or you can keep up with what's going on by following our social media profiles shown here. No matter what your experience you have or what skills you have to offer, we welcome you to join us in helping progress this county toward a better future. Thanks for watching and listening.